We are live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Survivor Series, and I'm your host, Higgy. My co-host is Amanda Marker. Her platform is Pain to Purpose. She's a fitness, wellness, nutrition guru. She's a dear friend to me, and she's also one of my coaches in my life. I'm a coach. She's a coach. We coach each other. It's how this thing works. But welcome to the Survivor Series. Survivor Series is a video testimonial series that's geared to sharing inspirational testimonies of people who have overcome seemingly insurmountable odds to have and live a life of purpose and destiny. And today is no different. I want to welcome everybody. We're streaming live to Higgy 2.0, the No More Heroin Survivor Series on YouTube, and Micky Mouth's music page. Micky Mouth is an amazing artist. He's a rap artist. He's also in recovery, and he has a very inspirational testimony. He's got a lot of knowledge to share. We're going to chop it up about music, and at the end of the broadcast, I'm going to be streaming one of his videos. You'll really enjoy that. So without further ado, I'm going to jump on and bring my boy. I can't quit stuttering.
You got this, bro.
My dude Micky Mouth. How are you, bro?
What's happening?
Where are you coming to us from?
I am actually in Navarre, Florida, Panhandle, Emerald Coast.
So I was just giving a brief introduction of who you are and whatnot. Well, we connected on Instagram. I just really vibed with your music. I love the lyrics. I like the music. I love the creativity you put into your work. And then we exchanged phone numbers and we started chatting, just texting, and then we started having conversations about life, recovery, my problems with relapse and whatnot. And you are over 12 years clean and sober yourself, right?
Yes, sir.
But thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being a support in my life. It's really super cool to have somebody that's down to earth, that's not a water walker.
I like that.
He has all the knowledge and still all the wildness, and he wants to live life to the fullest. And having said all of that, I'm going to let you take it away and let you introduce yourself and get into your testimony.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate that. I know this isn't a formal meeting, but my name is Micky. I am an alcoholic. I've been sober since March 3rd, 2010. If anyone is wondering, I'm 38 years old. I'm supposed to be getting sober at 25. First thing I wanted to say is, Higgy, thank you for someone to even speak about me and to me with that type of genuine description is just it's almost foreign to the person I used to be, you know what I'm saying? So you kind of caught me off guard with that, and I know it's genuine. And the thing that I like to tell people is, if like you connect with me, that's the same thing that I feel when I'm speaking to people like yourself, because I wouldn't connect to somebody that I don't see the very things that I like to see in myself, let alone those, characteristics that I know.
Or who I want to be is a man with confidence, that does things for the right reasons, it does the next right thing, trust God, does everything. And I see all those qualities in you. That's why I gravitate to you, your message, your music, and you as a man. You're a great role model for a person like me, or other men like me.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I never set out to be an inspiration.
I feel you. I really feel you. I'm trying to get this shared. You know what? I'm on my personal page, actually. That's okay. It doesn't matter. We're going to run this anyways, so we're all good. Carry on, sir. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, it's all good. But yeah, man, just a couple things about me. I love having an opportunity to kind of be myself, live in living color, so to speak, because a lot of my content antics, who I am as an artist, people get to see pieces of me, you know, and I don't feel like, I mean, I'm always me regardless of what I'm putting out, but you know, like we only get pieces of what we see on the internet, you know what I'm saying? So we don't get an opportunity to see what this person thinks, feels, and acts like in real time. So it's always a pleasurable experience for me. And you know, I'm a very energy kind of driven person. I like to be in people's presence, but with everything that's kind of went down over the past couple of years, we've gotten to open up to a very large connective, you know, what I don't know if y'all remember Back to the Future 2, man, where they were talking through the televisions, but this is what we're doing right now. You know what I mean? Like it's wild. So
it's like the Jetsons back in the day. That was
yeah,
cool
yeah,
cartoon.
you know, old
Teleporting.
school.
Yeah, this is very cool.
Yeah, but yeah, man, like you had mentioned, you know, we connected on you know, some recovery pages. You know, I am part of a 12-step recovery. You know, I do try to respect the traditions of the anonymous programs as such as much as I can. But at the same time, you know, I think a lot of things are starting to shift because there's a large group of us in this, you know, generation that recover out loud, and I think it's imperative to, you know, be the light to some people who are hiding, not necessarily in the rooms, but they haven't even made it there yet, you know what I mean? Or they're just in their phones or whatever algorithm, you know, like I'm a huge believer that God is everything or else God is nothing. And you know, I can't say that we're not connecting with people that I may never meet, you know what I mean? But they get to hear that inspirational message, you know, at times. So I'm very grateful for that. It's pretty awesome.
To me, that's what the ripple effect is all about. What you do creates that ripple that goes out, and it touches everything in its path, and you're putting out this message with your music and your social media presence, and people are drawn in, right? And they love your antics on TikTok and Instagram and whatnot. I mean, we're gonna chop it up a little bit about that, but I really want them to see genuinely who Micky is, and
Yeah, for sure,
how you
man.
got to be in the position you are. You're a pretty successful individual at this point. You have a career. You have two careers, maybe three at this point.
I got a few.
Maybe four, maybe four.
Yeah, so just to kind of briefly go through it, like I'm born and raised in Florida. I'm Irish, Japanese, German, and French Canadian. I grew up in the South. I'm a Southern kid, even though I talk real fast and don't have a Southern drawl, but I say y'all, so that kind of pegs me. Both my parents were wonderful people. You know, they didn't make it, you know, early on. My father, you know, is an alcoholic as well. But you know, if it weren't for the childhood and what I had gone through, and then him, you know, he's a huge part of my story. You know, my dad cleaned up when I was about 14, you know, and ironically, I became the thing that I didn't like, you know, or that I prayed for a different life from. I literally became that. But you know, I guess a normal kid. I never felt normal. You know, I always thought that there was something wrong, like there was some piece missing. You know, growing up in a broken home, it's, you know, you know, I was afraid a lot. I was angry. I spent a lot of time at home alone because my dad, would be out drinking. My mom, you know, had my sister across town and whatnot. But you know, I got to spend a lot of my childhood in solitude, and you know, I used to call it isolation, but you know, my story's changed a lot, you know, because my perspective of my story has changed. You know, the worst things that I thought ever happened to me have become the greatest assets to my life and to many others, you know. But you know, I started, you know, dabbling, drinking and drugging at 12 years old because it was a normal thing in my household, let alone just the thing to do. You know, I got in trouble a little bit, but I was always in sports. I think it was because you know, for anyone who doesn't know, but you know, free daycare if you sign your kids up for sports. I don't know about nowadays because it costs money to play everything, but back then, man, we go from school straight to, you know, whatever, football, you know, basketball, soccer, or whatnot. But you know, and I did. That's where I learned the sense of camaraderie. It was like my family away from my family. You know what I'm saying? Because my family didn't feel like this nestle comfortable thing, even though it was at times. And my childhood wasn't as bad as I thought it was the older I got. You know what I'm saying? And I'll kind of touch on that in a second. But yeah, I went through school with decent grades because my dad wanted me to excel better than he did. He dropped out there in high school. So I stayed out of trouble for most of the part. I got a couple little dinks on my juvenile record and whatnot, but he was very, he got sober at 14 when I was 14. So there was a lot of structure, came from a military family, a lot of responsibility, but I did well up until I went to college, man. When I went to, I got accepted to Florida State. I had like one of those bright future scholarships. I had everything teed up. I actually graduated high school with like 40 college credits. So I was a smart kid when I wanted to like apply effort, but I just didn't. I mean, I don't know.
Were you in the music back at that age? Were you?
Okay, that's perfect. So right as I got older, up into high school era, like I loved hip hop music. Like when I heard it, it took. I've always loved music though, and when I was like 17, I was riding with a buddy in the truck and I was talking, just running my mouth, right? That was the thing, like growing up as a kid, like I always got excessive talking, hence the name, which I'll tell you how I got that in a few minutes. But my buddy was like, man, you talk a lot. You should rap as a joke. You know what I mean? And then I kind of got into it and it just started to build up. So when I got to college, I was entered into this world of not real. I'm supposed to have structure, but I'm the one in charge. So it was like, it was kind of like deep end. You know what I mean? Like I'd skip class. I'd come, I'd stay out and I'd party. And that's when I really started to like drugs and alcohol really kind of took over, man. And it's the normal thing to do, so to speak, in college. But I was always the guy who was up early drinking and like the last one to like phase out or whatnot. But rapping in college kind of became a cool thing at parties. I love being the center of attention, man. I kind of always grown up in that sense. But we used to hop in, ciphers and whatnot and get a group around us and a couple of us would start battling. And I've been in some real dangerous situations, man. People don't like a loudmouth, know-it-all, especially when it gets to, taking dish shots at each other and things like that.
Bars and dissing at the same time.
Yeah. But I held my own and, I met a couple people, but like the cool thing about hip hop was it was more like this competitive respect in most cases. So I met a lot of people, my best friend, Matt Black, who was a part of my very first album project when I first got sober. But I didn't do any recording until later on in life. You know what I mean? I started dropping out of colleges and I'd drop out and then sign back up and back and forth. I got in some trouble here and there, some legal troubles, nothing too serious, just some minor charges. Yes, sir.
Do you know Joseph David Provito?
Yeah, man, I know Joe.
Micky is an inspiration to me and many of my friends that know him. He's tagging people in the comments, and he also said,
awesome,
he said, Micky helped me clean my life up. He helped me see my life in a different view, and I can see how you would do that. I really do. I didn't want you to miss that.
No, I appreciate that.
We'll get back to what you're doing. It's good that we don't see the good we do in the world, and sometimes it's good to be reminded.
Yeah, sometimes it's uncomfortable too. Just to be honest,
it's still uncomfortable for me a little bit.
Yeah, it gets better.
But instead of feeling real weird about it, I just say thank you and feel with gratitude.
That's the hard part is practicing that humility, man, and just taking it in. Honestly, what it really is like I'm a Gemini, so I'm all kinds of hardcore exterior, but I'm a softie on it. I'm a lover, man. That's just
Same here.
I grew up a fighter, but I'm a lover.
Yeah, I tell everybody I wasn't born with this nose from a former life.
Funny.
Josh
Knatzer.
What up, Micky, my guy?
Yeah, that's my dude. That's my dude, Josh.
Back to school. What you were talking about?
Yeah. So, anyways, like just to kind of backtrack, the sport that really took me into a whole nother realm as a young individual that groomed me for who I am today was I was a wrestler in high school. There's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Discipline that is required in order to be good at wrestling. And it's not like you rely or can blame a team player because it's just you on that mat. Between weight loss and you got to earn your position every week, but and that's where my true brotherhood. I got friends to this very day that I hold close, that we still get together, man. From that team, but that's where I kind of lost a piece of myself in college. Is I quit sports. Like I didn't have anything to do other than school, and school was easy. I could show up, you know what I mean? And then like end up, I just see my boy Dan. What's up, baby?
Dan Johnson, Home Services, LLC. Mickey, much love, brother. Thanks for the inspiration always.
Absolutely, man. That's a good dude.
So back to your wrestling real quick. Is that where you started your physical fitness journey as well?
I mean, I've always been a part of sports, but that's when I really took it serious, But like the thing is I went from such a
hip-hop
high physical, I went through that's Pops right there. That's my Pops.
Yeah, hip-hop, grandpops. G-pops in the house. Welcome, Chip.
Hey, that's my hero. That's my inspiration.
That's what's up.
He's a big part of my story. But yeah, so being in wrestling, man, I held such a high importance on staying physically fit, staying, at the top peak of my capability. That's why I feel like when I went to college, I didn't have nothing to do. Like I didn't have any type of structure or reason to stay disciplined. So it was like I went to school and all I saw was girls and fun.
Yep.
And fun and that's all I saw.
And more opportunities for fun.
Yes, and the other part is like my stepbrother had played football at Florida State when I was a young man, from 95 to 2001. So I already had this kind of upbeat feeling about the town in itself, man. But I was stuck in this like, oh man, it was like, you know how you feel before like drinking and drugging gets like bad, but like you know that feeling like every night is gonna be the best night of my life. Like I felt like that every day I woke up. It was just like this exciting scenario. Like tonight is gonna be like a Tuesday. I'm supposed to be in class studying and going to school in the morning. It's like, nah, tonight's the night. You know what I mean?
Tonight.
Yeah. It's like that old banner on that Elton John album, Saturday Night's the Right for Fighting or whatever. I think it is. I think my pops has that tattoo. But it was just like tonight is it. You know what I mean? But so I just got lost in it, man. I stopped caring about just doing anything, and I had a lot of fun. I'm not one of these sober people that tells you that, oh, it was always horrible and, life was always dooming. It wasn't. It was a blast. That word conviviality was like, it was the essence of everything. It was like, we can always have fun. And I was always that person that if you didn't have money, if you were weird, if you were new, or you didn't know anybody, it's like, come with me. This is going to be the best night of your life. You know what I'm saying?
And I tried to hang one night. He was no joke.
Oh man, hey, that's my brother. And honestly, what I did to that poor boy that night, it was rough. But yeah, when you go from drinking every single day of your life and you come hang out with people like that, and you're like, I want to drink with y'all. It's like, okay. It usually doesn't go off so well. But he's a normal person, you know what I mean? But so anyways, and honestly, a lot of things happened. So I started doing bad. I went back home. I kind of went through a pretty rough bout when I was about 23. I almost died personally. I went through alcohol poisoning. In fact, my father was there literally to scrape me off the side of the road because I didn't know what was going on. I just knew my body was shutting down. It was actually the night of the first night of a job that I had at a restaurant called Camille's. And literally my body just shut down and I could not, like my muscles started cramping and I had to crawl down, these stairs at this resort and people are like looking at me and I'm just trying to get to the road. I'm like, Dad, I'm at this street, blah, 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 and that was the first time I remember I don't know what it's like to have a child yet. I know what love is. I know the way I feel about my little sister. I know the way I feel about her children. But that was the first time I ever heard my dad scared. And I heard his voice. He's like, son, I can't find you. And he found me and he took me to the hospital and I saw the look in his eyes. And, you know, I'm literally basically on the verge of psychosis. They get me in to the unit. They can't get a needle in me because like my body's so dried out.
Dehydrated.
Basically
Mhm.
dehydration, kidney failures, the next step, alcohol poisoning is part of that. Of course, my dad's like, "Do you take anything else?" I was like, "Of course not," just lying to him because who knows what was in my system, you know what I mean? But I saw that look. I saw that look in his eyes, man, and I still remember it to this day. I don't. It's like what I think it is that magical moment that when you get to feel like you're having a kid. And I've only heard about this, but I think what he felt was the opposite of that,
Mm.
right? And like I couldn't imagine, and I know that in hindsight today. So, anyways, the doc comes in. He's like, "You think you got a drinking problem?" And I'm like, "I don't know, maybe." You know, he's
What
like, "Well,
age?
I can't."
At what age was this?
I was 23 years old.
23 years old.
23 years old.
And you were
So, anyways,
bottoming out. You were bottoming out already.
pretty much, yeah. I mean, I'm knocking on death's door at this point. You know what I mean? So, anyways, I go home. My dad doctors me up like he always does. You know, I'm like, cool. I'm not gonna drink. I'm just gonna cut out the drink. I went on a little marijuana maintenance program for a little about 30 days. I think I made it, and then it was just off to the races. Now, the next thing that happened is one of my best friends died.
Hmm.
I was supposed to be with him that night. His name is Sean Tector. I was supposed to be with him. We were actually getting annihilated for like a week straight. And he hit me up. He's like, Mick, come over. We're at a buddy's condo. We were renting this place. He was renting a place out with another friend of mine. And we were just bad off. And these boys were in the Marine Corps. Two kids I grew up with my whole life. And Sean was like, Mick, come hang out. And I'm like, man, I got to wake up and go to work tomorrow. I can't stay up again. Because we were doing like, full rotations, staying up for 2-3 days at a time. And anyways, we went to the next morning, my boy Justin calls me and he can't speak. And he's just like, Sean's gone.
Hmm.
And that little tight knit group of friends, it didn't put a wedge in us forever, but it changes a group of kids. You lose one of your own. Sean has a twin brother, and he's got a little brother who's a couple years younger. We're all still friends. We got a group text that we always joke around and still to this day. But it changed us, man. And the thing about it, for that memory today, is like all I remember is drinking and taking more pills just to like forget that feeling, and then making
Right.
it about me. Oh, I lost my friend. I should have been there. He'd be alive. My ego said I could have saved him. You know what I mean? And it was just it was a real difficult time. But
Grief,
when
grief is a horrible thing, and
especially when you don't know how to do it the right. Well, I don't know if there's a right way, but the way I was doing it wasn't. I don't even know that I was grieving because I was so messed up. I didn't have a chance to. I was just so numb. So, anyways, next month, my boy that was with him that found him, he ODs in my house. I'm like, this sucks. Life is nuts. We need to get out of here, man. To kind of back up a little bit, my sister's probably the other. I mean, my whole family is a huge part of my story, but like when my sister was born, I was 4 years old, and like my mom said, like that was my baby, right? So like when my mom left, she took my sister out of a very toxic environment, as a mother should. You know what I'm saying? And she's dealt with her own healing and regret of leaving me in this scenario with my pops at the time. He was actively drinking and whatnot. But my sister was, she did well. She graduated high school. She went to she was at USF on a Division I scholarship playing ball, but she'd always check up on me, man. I still to this day feel that like I'm responsible for teaching her how to drink. way more than she probably should have, but it's in our bloodline, man. My great grandfather, my grandfather, we're all, like I found out, me and my pops found out that my great grandfather died drinking Lysol, thinking it was Listerine when he was 28 years old.
Wow.
And then my grandfather, who my dad's dad died when he was in his 30s, I think I was a little boy around 5. He passed away. He was a Silver Star recipient in United States Air Force, Vietnam vet. He died of colon cancer, which is a very curable cancer, but he drank a lot. You know what I mean? So he died at 55. My father got sober at 40. I got sober at 25. So generationally, hopefully, man, my kid don't, end up whatever if I'm blessed with that honor to have a son, you know what I mean? But anyways, so I picked up and I packed up and I left. I met a friend named Matt from Massachusetts area. He was like, Mick, let's sell insurance. We got out of school. I did a lot of wheeling and dealing on the street so I could support my habit. You know what I mean? Don't really need to talk about that too much, but go up there, man, and like they say in the rooms, as cliche as it is, it's as real as rain, man. Like wherever you go, there you are. And I brought me with me, but it got worse, and at this time I'm about 23, about to be 24. And I'll be honest with you, Hig, I don't remember a lot of nights up there, man, and the friend that I was with, God bless him and his family for putting up with me. We were living in Plymouth. It's beautiful up there, man. But I was just lost in it. But it was always, but like my whole feeling about life was the next best thing. I'm gonna be the greatest, whatever, coming soon, and tonight's the night. I mean, that was like what I woke up with all the time. You know what I mean? And it's no matter how bad life got, how many cars I bang up, how many times I see my dad upset, my mom upset. Them calling me, happen to send me money to get me out of some BS lie that I made up. I really, man, what I learned how to do in my childhood and as a young adult is manipulate the people I love. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that they were a horrible example as a kid, because they weren't. They did the best that they could and had. But like, what we grew up in, even what they grew up in, like we learned this stuff, you know what I mean? But like, I used my parents as an excuse. Like, where were y'all when I was a kid? You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to do what I want to do.
Mickey Van says, yo, Mickey, you've come a long way, bud.
That man right there told me the first loving thing. I'm going to remind me to get back to Mickey.
Okay.
So I call, I'm coming home. It's time. You know what I mean? Pops is like, come on home, son. As much as I would put myself into, as much pain and trouble that I would be in, Pops always was ready to take me in. So anyways, I get home. It's not going well between me and him. Me and him get into an altercation because my lifestyle doesn't suit a man who's sober in a program trying to help others. You know what I mean? And I didn't want what he had, So I manipulated my way out of his household over to Mom's, and I'm just gonna get through this next spring and summer, stack some money up, and then boom, we're gonna be the most successful person in the world coming soon. But tonight's the night. You know what I mean? Like, here we go. This is what we're gonna do. So I end up in my mom's house, and I'm getting another restaurant job, man. I probably had 60 restaurant jobs from like 18 to 24, like you wouldn't believe. Because I was so good at getting jobs because I was so full of shit. You know what I mean? I could talk my way in and out of anything.
You got that mouthpiece, bro. You got that mouthpiece.
Hey, you can't talk your way out of hell.
That's true.
So anyways, I end up working at a job, and I'm like, I don't know where I was. I don't know what was. There was about a week and not knowing what was going on. And I remember being at my mom's house, and I'm putting on this tuxedo outfit to go to this Italian restaurant. And my mom is like, honey, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. She's like, why are you like falling asleep? And I'm like, I'm just tired. I had too much sun today, or I was out at the beach, or I had a few too many last night.
But turkey, there's melatonin in the turkey.
Yeah, tryptophan. You know what I mean? So, anyways, I wasn't really into the drugs so much, but like really what kind of sent me off into and well, I really wasn't into opiates because that's a lie. Like I was snorting and shooting. I was, I hadn't got into like intravenously yet. You know what I mean? But if you put it in front of me, yes. Hey, you want to try it? Yes. You couldn't finish that statement. How many will you want? Yes.
How much you
What
got?
more? Right. It was just, so I was, the first time that I ever tried cocaine was on mushrooms after drinking for 4 days. The first time I tried acid was off of a 4-day binge of drinking. Well, it was awful. You know what I mean? So anyways, but
Nick.
I end up with my mom and I left and I remember coming home and she's like, we got to talk. And I turned the corner, and I don't know if this is how it really went. This is just kind of how I remember it, because my memory's a little faded or whatnot. But my dad's there, my stepmom's there, my mom's there, and my stepdad is there. And I'm like, shit, this is one of those intervention things. Now, luckily for me and them, they didn't bring an expert. You know what I mean? Because my dad's a sober person, and he knows the deal. So we talk, and they're like, well, hey son, how do you feel about going to meetings? And I'm like, I don't. You know what I mean? And I got this attitude and air. And when you talk to me and I don't like the way the conversation's going, I'm extremely argumentative, and you're about to hate me because I won't stop arguing, and I'll wear you out until you either quit, walk away, or get super angry and say something you don't want to do. And I got a bigger bat. I got a sharper knife. You know what I mean? It's not a good thing. It's a horrible thing, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there in front of the people who, mind you, I don't know what it feels like the child come into your life or to love a child. Today, my girlfriend's son, I get to say that I'm a father figure. But the people that love me, right, they feel the opposite of what parents are supposed to feel right now in this moment, right? And they're trying to save my life and help me. And I popped off and said something, and one of them was like, well, we'll just have you Baker acted. And I'm like, you're going to have me Baker act. You're going to have me sit in front of a doctor with however many letters behind his name who's done X amount of time in school, and you expect me not to sit down, him be so impressed by me that I won't volunteer and end up running his whole entire fucking, institution? Like, you really think they're going to keep me for 72 hours? Like, I'll be gone in 8. What do you want to do? And like, mom is, my dad, first of all, I remember my dad's patience, and I get my patience from my dad. It's a little short. We're Irish, quick temper, whatever. You know what I mean? But he kept his cool, man. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, look, why don't you try 90 meetings in 90 days? And I'm like, I'm not going to get out of this situation. What are we going to do, self? If we just get through this, 90 days is not that many. That's 3 months. That puts you on this amount of time. By the time it's summer, and then boom, you can go off, and then we'll be the most successful. I want tonight to be tonight, but shit, tonight can't be the greatest night, right? Every night was the greatest night, except now I'm like, oh shit, what am I going to do tonight? You know what I mean? Like, so it was this weird shift inside of me. So I'm like, look, I don't have any money in the bank. I don't have anything going for me. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have nothing. I'm going to need a place to stay. I'm really hungry. I don't have enough time. I got a job, but they'll probably fire me. Sure, let's do this. So I started going to meetings, and don't get me wrong. When I got there, I ain't want nothing. I didn't have a desire. I didn't have a want. But what I did is I'm an observer, and I'm like a little too observant, and I process things abnormally fast. Like, I process stuff. So I'm sitting here looking at these steps, and I'm like, this shit's brilliant. This will work for anyone. These traditions are brilliant. I mean, y'all probably need this.
You're the only person in the world I've ever heard say that.
Because I didn't have a problem reading it, but I didn't want to do it. I grew up Catholic, man. Telling a priest you've done weird stuff with yourself, as in a confession booth is weird, like, and I'm not trying to be funny. Like, that was a weird feeling growing up as a kid. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, man, I'll soak this up. So I hang out, right? So I meet Mickey, who just popped in, and dude told me a couple stories that were wild. I mean, like wild. And I'm like, yo, this dude is off the chain. And I picked him as a mentor, guidance. You know, I'm trying to respect the.
Oh, we lost him. He'll come back here shortly. Great interview with my dude. He's a very powerful speaker, very motivating. I'm gonna text him to click the link. There he is. There you go.
There we are. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
All right, hold on, because I can't hear you. Let me see if I can get my mic back.
The old Facebook's hanky, the Wi-Fi connections kind of.
All right, there you are.
Are you there?
Yep. All right, so
Oh, man.
I'm going to meetings. I'm soaking it in. I'm not really doing any of the first few steps. You know, I'm thinking about them. You know, I didn't want to do the fourth. I didn't want to do the fifth. And all of a sudden, I get 30 days, right? And it was pretty cool, I guess. But I got a phone call. I got a phone call from somebody in my family. It's like, hey man, will you sell this bottle of Lord Tabs for me? And I'm like, I'm sober. Yes, that's easy.
Yes.
What do I get? You know what I mean? Like, we'll throw you a few bucks. And I'm like, all right. So I put the bottle. I go pick it up, and I'm driving it, and I get a call. Hey, they're not ready yet. Just go to the house and hold off. I'll call you back. So I'm thinking, I'm sitting there with this little bottle of pills in my pocket, and I'm like, man, you know what? Maybe I should count them. Dumped them out. I'm like, there's 31. There's supposed to be 30. So maybe I'll save it for a rainy day. Maybe after my 90 days, right?
Right.
Go drop them off.
Is that a reservation?
Right? Straight up. Go drop them off. And all of a sudden, man, I'm like, I'm an alcoholic. I'm not a junkie. I'm not an addict. Pop the pill. Now, in a very short amount of time, I go down the rabbit hole of opiate, all the opiates, synthetic, not synthetic, you name it, it got bad. So anyways, when I said this man told me the most loving thing that the first loving thing that I've heard in an anonymous program, basically said to me, hey man, you're young. Why don't you go drink? I'm a huge advocate of if you're here in a 12-step program and you're not doing this, then I'm going to go ahead and take that into consideration. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I lost my thought for a second. So I'm thinking to myself, I am young. I just got permission, so to speak. You know what I mean? And I came back and I'm like, nah, I need to get out of this. So anyways, I had a conversation with my dad. And of course, he was upset. And I basically told him, look, I've been lying. I'm not sober, blah, blah, blah. Blows up, boom, deep end, right? This is when everything got real nasty. So for like 9 months, I went down the rabbit hole, like real bad. Like just, you know, all the things that people are like, yo, I would never do that. I did it. You know what I'm saying? I would never do this. I would do that. I did it. You know what I mean? It got everything that they said in meetings, I did. And then all those things that these people did that these people wouldn't, I did it, you know, and that's just the respect of it. So anyways, I end up showing up to, it wasn't really a good job. It was a job, but my dad was there and he brought a dude with him. And you ready to come home? And I was beat up, man. So I came home, you know, I did my thing. And mind you, nothing has really happened with music. So I go through a few months with my father, you know, I'm not really doing right. I'm lying. I'm still taking a handful of things here, going to meetings, you know, honoring the alcohol part. But we had an honesty meeting one day and I got rocked. You know what I mean? But my sister calls me during this time period and she's like, yo, I'm pregnant. You can't tell anyone. Now I'm supposed to be living an honest program, and I gotta keep a secret. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah. I was like, who's the guy? She's like, I don't really know him. And I'm like, oh boy, it's one of those scenarios. And she's like, you gotta sober up, right? So my sobriety date year is the same year my nephew was born. So
That's
he's
awesome.
12. He's 12 years old. So anyways, so to get back through it, and I want to tell this real quick to get back to the music part, this real quick part, but I'm at an honesty meeting. I know I'm a liar. That's where the paradigm shift happened for me. When I said out loud, my name is Mickey and I'm a liar, it changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm riding home with Pops. We sit down, we get into an argument. With all my heart, I am trying to explain to this man who has been sober for years that I can live a life safely with substance in my life. You know, I can drink like a normal person. I can do this. I can do this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to explain this to a man who knows he can't and knows that I can't.
Mm-hmm.
But I really mean it. I think it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really believe this is a hard. I'm losing my best friend. I'm losing. You know, alcohol and drugs are better than y'all. We're better than my parents. We're better than, you know. It was the most. Like, you want me to just break up with the best thing I've ever had in my life? Like, I don't want to do that.
And the most consistent.
Right. You know, ironically thinking about that in that sense. Absolutely.
Jared.
So anyways,
Jared Feetham says, yeah, there's my boy.
that's what's up. So anyways, my Pops looks at me. Second most loving thing I've ever heard in my life. And I don't mean that specifically, but as a turning point, there are three specific things that changed my perspective. The first was go drink. The second, my father looked at me and said, son, I'm gonna give you this stack of money, a couple grand. You need to go 1,000 miles away. You're killing this family. You're the most selfish person I've ever met in my life. Now, at this moment, you know how in the movies where time stops and you see the dust particles or the water droplets stop?
Yes.
That's how, when he said, you're the most selfish person I've ever met, everything just stopped. It was like an eternity in my heart. I could hear my heart. I could feel it in my hands, right? And then he said, other than myself. I didn't know it at the time, but that little glimmer of honesty was hope.
Yep.
Remember what you went through as a child and what I put you through and can't you see that I'm trying to, all this stuff is just like, oh. So where I think the program is brilliant, I'm defiant. I don't want it. Now it's like, damn, I may need to get to this brilliant work that somebody put together, right? Mm-hmm. So I call my sponsor at the time, and he says, how do you feel? I'm crying. I love an audience, and when I can make an audience feel the way I feel, maybe I can manipulate you a little bit, right? I'm good at that. So that's my dad's fault for putting me in a drama class. I didn't want to go to drama class. Best class I ever took in my life, but it made me hell of an actor. So the actor that they talk about on page 62 that he'll say he is, I am the perfect director. That is the actor. I am, absolutely. So thanks, Pops. You know, whatever.
Those are called transferable skills.
Oh, absolutely, man. So anyways, we get to the point when my sponsor says to me, he's like, how do you feel? And of course, incomprehensible demoralization, terror, bewilderment, frustration, all these. He's like, stop using words that you don't use in your vocabulary because it's in a book. Like, tell me how you feel. Third most loving thing that completely changed my life perspective to this very day. I said, I hate myself. He said, good, you deserve it.
Wow. Some brutal honesty right there.
But is it brutal? Or is the liar in me such a victim and such a blamer that my ego hurts so bad that I want to describe it as brutal? Because to me, brutal doesn't save lives. That shit saved my life. That's why I say those were the most loving things that somebody told me. That's real.
Gut wrenching.
Absolutely. I mean, it cut through everything. So boom, long story short, I'm like, hey man, can I start writing my 4-step shirt? Let's five days later, I'm 5th stepping. In 90 days, I'm sponsoring. And let me tell you where everything really changed, right? So let me backtrack a little bit. When I was 60 days sober, right? And this was the 60 days within the steps. I think I'm right around step 9 at the time. I wrote a song called Gonna Be. It was the first song that I ever write. Well, not technically the first song I recorded, but technically the first song that I wrote, recorded, and released. Right. My brother was a big part of that. My brother's, he's been in the music recording school and business and whatnot. So we I took this conglomerate of information that I've gotten in this short amount of time of being 60 days sober, because I'm 60 days sober. I can get anyone sober now. I'm the smartest person alive. You know how it goes when you're early on. I'm going to change the world. You know what I mean? Tonight is the greatest night. and I'm going to be the one to give you the song. You know what I mean? But that song, it made it real, because people not only in the rooms were paying attention to me, but people outside the rooms were paying attention to me. So it kind of became like a cloak of protection in a sense. Like, this is my first introduction into reputation, right? So anyways, go through the steps, start sponsoring, move down to Tampa. Tampa was wonderful. I learned a lot down there. Everywhere you go, there you are. I took a lot of my character defects, but I brought a lot back. I got my sister through Eli's birth. My nephew is one of the most, beautiful kids on the planet. Caveat, kids are assholes, but so was I. I'm so blessed to have kids in my life. You know what I mean? Him and my girlfriend's son today are pretty, I mean, they're cousins, they're family, they're like best friends. Watching them kids together is like they grew up, their whole lives together. So, he's more than I could ever be a blessing. My sister started going to meetings with me. She later, I think she's a little over 3 years now. My cousin's got 5-something years. People come when they see you, man. You know what I'm saying?
That's a ripple effect I was talking about earlier.
For sure.
When you're the example, and and you're the teacher, students will show up.
I appreciate that, man. But growing through the early couple first years. So anyways, we pieced together this project called The Time Is Now. It's an album. I've actually got hard copies. I need to send you some. It's not on all digital platforms. I think I need to go back and re-upload it, because we were learning, man. I didn't have the opportunity to be with professionals like me and my brother Ben, who's hopped on here a couple times. He was the one, we did it together, but we learned together. I mean, so when I look back at those songs, I'm like, those aren't the greatest, but like they are, because they're a part of, you know what I mean? They're who I was then. And I don't want to look down on myself when that was a huge part of who I am today. But had my first hip hop show, man. I'll never forget, right? Let me tell this funny story real quick before I tell this other little quick story. All right. So 23 years old, you're going to school, you're fucking schooled up royally. You're drinking too much. You come home. I was groomed to be a lawyer. I was supposed to be a lawyer, and I would have been, and I would be, if I were today to go to school. I would be a phenomenal lawyer, in my opinion, and my parents' opinion as well, especially my father, because I argue so much and so well. So, anyways, I come home and I said, Dad, now I don't know about this. I can't speak for people. I don't consider myself white. I say I'm off-white. One is a joke, too, because I'm quarter Japanese, but it's funny, whatever. But when a white kid sits down with his white father and says, Dad, I'm going to be a rapper, I'm sure that's the last fucking thing on the planet that they want to hear. And I'll never forget that conversation with my dad, because he was not happy. But he was trying to like be cool about it. He's like, but he's like, no. So anyway, so I got my first hip hop show. I think it was my first year in sobriety. And like we're oh shit, I lost you. Hold up. There you go. Sorry about that. So anyways, so I'm working on the album. The album's not dropped yet. My brother helps me up, and we end up getting. I was working at a Hard Rock Cafe in Destin. Ironically, had some people in the sober in the program that were working there that helped me through my first year, which was a blessing. Everywhere you go, there you are, but everywhere you go, there's God. You know what I mean? Like that's a real thing. The footprints in the sand prayer. Like, God, where were you at? Oh, I only see my footprints. Like, nah, son, I was carrying you. Like that's the story of my life.
Yeah.
So So I perform at a show, man, and my dad is front and center, man. And when them drums hit and when that music came on and I started doing my thing, remember the look in his eyes that I told you that I couldn't imagine any parent wanting to see, like, the opposite of your child coming in the world, like your kid's about to go out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, imagine the opposite of that, like I was reborn, like the book says. The look on his face, I have never seen my father more excited and more in just entranced by me in my presence. And it was like, I can cry thinking about that moment, man. So like all that bullshit that I, thought about and like used to always like tear myself down for, I don't need to be doing this, I need to quit. But I got to see that moments, all the work that I put in at times, I've wanted to quit rapping and making music the entire time I've done it. If you don't love something to the point where you're confused and scared and angry and frustrated, you know what I mean? Like, and you're not obsessed with it to the point to where they're like, what are you doing? And you're like, fuck you, I gotta keep going. I can't stop. It's almost like a drug. You know what I mean? But like, I don't think you understand what this does for me, right? And it's like, this is a part of who I am, and it has been ever since. Like, sobriety and hip hop for me go hand in hand. So my mom was there, my sister was there, the whole gambit, man. My family, my best friends, they're still supportive. I dropped a couple of projects. So this is the part where I wanna kind of tie all this in, man. I got to the point where I got so good at sobriety that I'm gonna change everything and teach everyone how to run shit. But I got real arrogant about my program. I had a God of my intellect. My God of my understanding was not of love yet. It was of my own. And I'm not talking about the self-knowledge that can't keep you sober. I had no problem staying sober, but I'm talking about the arrogance that makes you think you're better than other people in the rooms. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Like, because I speak it better, or because people come up to me, or because I sponsor, I get this mindset that I'm better than others, right? That superiority, right? It talks about that in the 12 and 12. So anyways, I meet this man that makes me feel like a child because his presence, I'm not smarter than, I'm not taller. He was tall. He just had, I don't know what it was about him, man, but he shook me. And the way he spoke with conviction, and he spoke with experience, and he spoke with honesty, and everything that I the more I stayed and the more work I did, the more I wanted what y'all had, those who've done the work, right? That I have still to this day, I feel that way, right? We stand on the shoulders of giants. Absolutely. So this man that his name is Ronnie T, and I walked right up to him after meeting, and at the time my sponsor wasn't going to as many meetings and whatever, and I felt like I was doing more. Anyways, I walked up to this man, I looked him dead in the eyes, I said, "Sir, I don't want to ask you this because I'm afraid, but I think I need to ask you this." And he said, "What's that?" I said, "Will you be my sponsor?" He looked at me dead in my eyes. He said, "I don't know." Now, at this moment, I'm thinking to myself, bro, don't you know who I am? Can't you hear me in this room talking the way I talk and all the people, all this stuff? I'm not saying that, but that's what's going on in my head. He said, "I don't know. I need to talk to my sponsor." And that's a very interesting thing to hear because you don't hear a lot of people talk about that. His humility with 20 some odd years and experience still humbles himself to go to the person that he uses as a spiritual mentor and I say director in the sense of direction, right? Help direct me back to the path of love.
And sounding board, right?
Right. But
board.
He's an example of that.
Yeah.
He's an example of that. And he taught me to do that. And to this day, I do that. When somebody asks me for their help, I said, I need to check in. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if I'm doing okay or whatnot. I need, sometimes, who knows? Anyways, so we get around to, I get about, man, I got like 6 solid years with that man. But there was, and cancer caught up with them, but we had a lot of wonderful life together. I could tell stories for the next 2 hours on that dude. But here's the interesting thing, and this is the kicker, and I really appreciate and respect you always promoting my music and me as an artist because it's very important. I believe that this moment is a direct result of what I'm about to tell you. He looked me in my eyes and said, Mickey, you need to stop separating recovery and your music. He said, it's okay for you to talk about being sober. Respect the traditions, respect respect everything, but tell your story. So the video that you're gonna share tonight, this beat shows up, and it's like nothing's gonna stop me as a sampled hook, and I'm like, man, this is beautiful. This is it. I'm gonna tell my story. Now, before I started writing that, he had passed, and in his death, I learned a lot. I didn't lose anything when that man passed. I have a new perception on life. I don't know that we've ever lost anything. I believe that everything in our life, if I selfishly remove myself from the perspective of me not having something in my life, I can see that I've only gained, because I had a man who taught me so much about me that I still teach other men and women about themselves, because
You are them.
I'm the direct message that he carried to me, through me, channel of peace, right? The whole St. Francis prayer, like I'm this man, and it's a part of who I speak about him. He's alive by me saying Ronnie Turner, you know what I mean? He still lives inside of me, and I carry him to other people. And look, I know people that have lost a lot of things in their life, and a lot of people, and if you could, even people that I know who've lost children, like at least it's better to experience a love and lose it than never know that love at all. I know that sounds cliche, but if you can heal through the loss and understand that there is no loss, there's so much love to focus on and not sadness. And that's when we talked about grieving. This is where I learned how to grieve. Now, mind you, I miss him. Lonely for a little while. I was scared, I needed to change, sponsors. Like I was angry a little bit, I'd go out to the sunset and cry and talk to him. You know what I mean? I grieved. I'm not dismissing our feelings. I'm just talking about a perspective that I've found that I look to.
Be grateful for the experience,
Absolutely.
We get caught up in the loss, and it invalidates all the good that came from those relationships. I just lost my best friend in November. I'm with you right there. I'm still angry. I'm still grieving. I still cry, and wish things could have been different. I blame myself, just like you with your friend. All similar, very similar, very something that I can relate to as well. I know other people can as well.
Absolutely. So real quick, because I know we're at the top of the hour. He passes. I made this song. I hadn't shot the video. I go up to Atlanta. I'm talking to some heavy hitters up there in the music industry. And I get on a phone call with a woman who costs like $350 an hour, through some people, some big artists that ran through Atlanta years ago. And she says, Miggy, I took a few moments to take a look at your music. There's not a lot. This is about 2017-ish. She's like, the first thing that I need you to understand, and that I'm expensive, so we need to talk. You've got an hour. But the first thing that I'm gonna tell you is you need to stop separating recovery and your music. And I just lump, right? And she's like, young man, are you there? And I say, yes, ma'am, I'm sorry, but you just had said something that one of my mentors told me, and he passed earlier. And I mean, you said it verbatim. She said, son, it sounds like God speaking to you, and it sounds like you need to adhere to this information if you're hearing it twice. She skipped right over the moment of fucking wonder, right? And it was like, yes, ma'am. But see, that's how like the universe knows how my mind is, right? Because if I get so lost in the emotion, I lose focus, right? So boom, she tells me to do this, and that relationship, that whole scenario was just that message, which was more powerful than me getting signed to a label, getting an opportunity, getting all these things that I thought I deserved. And it was finally the moment, and I'm finally talking to people with big names, and I'm like, and this was bigger, right? So I write the song and I called the videographer and I'm like, look, man, I don't know what we need to do with this video, but I feel like I should reach out to this clubhouse, right? That runs 12 steps into charity, place, which is part of the video you're about to share. And I asked the board. It was voted on, and the person who had built that exact club, that was his whole purpose, was to get the message of recovery out to the world. So they obliged and allowed me to share my story, my video, as a part of that. And man, ever since that video, man, all the videos and songs that I have have spawned, and what that moment did was made me so comfortable about being myself and who I am, because I think people often forget that art is a form of self-expression. And some songs my dad don't like, my mom don't like, my girlfriend don't like, my sister don't like, my best friend don't like, but they're not gonna like everything about me. You know what I mean? But it keeps me on this path of just, loving to do what I do, man. And
self-expression. It's your
absolutely.
journey, your story, your method, your madness.
For sure. And it's lifeblood for me. You know what I mean? Sobriety. I don't know if y'all see this. I'm wearing it's a Bill W shirt, man. It's with the Wu-Tang Clan mashed up. My dude, the Sober Life, I'll link you up with him. My dude Joey does a lot of that stuff online and stuff. But yeah, man, I could sit and talk for hours, bro.
Yeah, you include recovery into your music, but that's not the box that you're in, your genre, right?
I'm honestly, man, I think labels and boxes and genres are in the eye of the beholder. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I get it. If people put me in that, that's cool, but that ain't none of my business what you label me as. You know what I mean? I'm just an artist. I'm just Micky Mouth. I'm my brand. You know what I mean? And whatever they want to put me in, that's cool. I get people all the time like, "Oh, you talk about God, Christian this and that." I'm like, "Yeah, cool, Christian this and that." I don't tell them they're wrong or tell them I don't vibe with that, with religion in that sense. Like, I don't care what you are. You know what I'm saying? If you love a message from me, like, I rock with Jesus, I rock with Buddha, I rock with all of them, man. All the books, all the spiritual concepts.
That's part of the open-mindedness and willingness and the honesty piece.
Hey, real quick, you just reminded me. This right here. Yo, screenshot it, message me. This book right here took me to another level, man. Spirituality of Imperfection. It is it's amazing. It takes the conglomerate of all the spiritual teachings of pretty much as much historical documentation has been recorded and just mashes it up into this. Really what it talks about, man, is the fact that I have character defects. I'm humanly flawed. I'm not right in the head. That's the reason why I'm able to be closer and continue to seek. Like, we tend to look at ourselves and judge ourselves like we're not supposed to be human, like we're not supposed to have emotions, and we're not supposed to have fear and anger and resentment and selfishness. And it's like we are. That's what brings us closer when we're aware of that. You know what I mean? So that's blowing a hole through me, man. Very good book.
I want to play this song, but I don't want to lose your audio again. Please briefly go through your creative process. How do you get a concept out of your head onto paper, into lyrics, music, then art? How does that happen?
So, first of all, I believe it's already art. I mean, your heart beats, your blood flows in rhythm, your nervous system, electrical pulses like a guitar string plugged in. I'm plugged into the source. So the music is me. So in the music is you. You know what I mean? The idea of, to answer that question, is different across the board. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a specific process. Sometimes I'll have a concept and I'll write it down. Sometimes I'll have the idea of I'll hear a beat and come up with the concept from the beat, because the melody and the percussion makes me feel a certain kind of way, and I'm like, yeah, this is it. So it's not, and really, when it happens wherever. I'll wake up in the middle of the night and write rhymes on my phone. I'll be at the gym writing rhymes on my phone. I'll be showing how. So I'm a realtor. also. But I'll be showing houses like, oh shit, we can put this line down real quick. Yeah, check out the backyard. You know what I mean? Like, and so it like I am one of those people. If I don't do it now, I'll lose it. But I've also felt like if I do lose it, it is what it is. It's okay. Like fleeting thoughts come and go whenever it comes back. But yeah, man, it like this shit puts itself together. I'd love to take as much credit as I could possible, but whatever created this thing, man, is much more than I can understand half the time.
Good shit, man. I've asked a lot of artists that they all have their own way of doing things. Some people start with the beat and just let the words come. Other people write it and look for something, a piece of music to add it to, and then the rest just evolves, you know. And and you're working with other artists as well. Are there anyone you want to give a shout out to that you've worked with?
Yeah, man. I mean, I've got tons of artists that I love with all my heart that I could plug, but at the same time, like we're all like I promote them as much as I'm on socials, you know what I mean? But one individual in particular that I've had an opportunity to mentor, manage, if you will, kind of like, like a big brother, father, whatever, person in his life to just share my experience, strength, and hope through music as an artist. His name is Chandler. It's spelled with an X, so it's CHXNDLER. The stars, God lined up this opportunity to meet this kid. I met him. I said, look, man,
he's talented. His voice sounds really good.
He's got a very unique sound. He's got a unique look. He's got a drive that reminds me of me. I mean, the only thing my entire life that I've heard, and I still hear to this day from everyone that knows me, I love hearing it, but I hate hearing it. But my whole life, Mickey, slow down. And that's all I hear myself trying to tell this kid. And at the same time, I step back and I'm like, nah, man, go fast. Because life will slow you down. I just kind of warn him. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Tonight's the night.
Tonight's the night, y'all. You know what I mean? That's right. Well, I think my girl's about to be home with the little one. I gotta get some dogs fed, man. But anything else?
Hold tight, everybody. I want to play this song for you. I love it, and it's very.
Hey, look again. Thank you, bro. I love you, man. We got a lot of things to connect on and do in the future. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely, my dude. Absolutely.
Hi, my name's Mickey, and I'm.
I can hear it.
When I say I started from the bottom, I actually started from the bottom. Check it out. Came from digging for coins in the cracks of the couch. Old English and Duchess, burning sacks in the clouds. Empty bottles, top bombing, daydreaming and blacking out. Talking shit, playing spades with the music too loud. Rhyming with Matt Black, turning up with the crowd. Running hustles each day with an empty account. And all my mistakes made me who I am now. Through all the bullshit and pain, I had no doubt. I just knew. Man, this hip-hop shit honestly became part of me. More each day, so I thought I could make this happen. This is what happened. College dropout, dropped out of college. And fucking attendance record, I got plenty of knowledge. Had to swerve like alcoholics, becoming an alcoholic. Even though Pops was sober, I still thought I was flawless. Started flipping dimes just to fatten my wallet. Dimes turned to quaps, turned to pills, turned to problems. Broke the fourth commandment, didn't listen to Chris Wallace. Found a mental prison, the definition of bondage. I wasn't sober a day from 18 to 25, been hospitalized. I'm blessed to be alive. Watch my best friend die, another OD and survive. Back when Quali had that anthem, just to get by. I was doing all I could just to get high. Manipulating anyone with my fear and my pride. That get the gap becomes a curse when everything is a lie. It all caught up to me about the end of 09. Pop showed up, pulled my ass out the gutter. Asked, son, are you ready? You're killing your mother. And your stepmom too, you're making everyone suffer. It took a few months, getting sober's a struggle. Sis called, said she's pregnant and needed a brother. Funny how God works, I put nothing above her. So you know. See, I died or killed for my sister, man. I had to make that change. At the same time I started getting sober, I started writing and recording music with my brother. Living my dreams and helping others, my purpose. At times I juggle so much, I swear the world is a circus. Those who suffered great pain know that nothing can hurt us. My role is bigger than rap, that's only scratching the surface. After I wrote my first track, this kid said thank you and hugged me. He said your words are inspiration, then he said that he loved me. It hit me deep in my soul, no one can take that from me. I don't care what you believe, I get my strength from above me. So I know. So I dropped a couple albums, man. Started throwing mad money into this, and I kept learning, more and more, polishing my skills. And I finally realized that the destination is the journey. Like I'm actually here. I'm here right now, yo. I just gotta keep going.
Yeah. Oh man, hold on one second. Oh, I lost you. Dang it.
My mic was
There
muted.
it is.
My mic was
There we
muted.
go.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for being here. You helped me a lot with your music and just our interaction and whatnot. You're helping me get back on track with my podcasting as well. Having amazing guests that have something to offer, and you do. You have an immense amount of knowledge and talent to share with people. And I encourage everyone to please check out Micky Mouth on TikTok, IG, Facebook, and subscribe to his YouTube channel, all by the same name, Micky Mouth.
Yes, sir. Mickey no E.
Micky no E, M-I-K-Y, Mickey.
But yeah, all the platforms, man. Apple Music, Spotify. I'm on Pandora, Deezer. I'm on things that I don't even know existed.
It's all news to me too. I got to start investigating all that as well. But I know your girlfriend just came home, and you got family life.
Time to get back to life. Yeah, that's right. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me, bro. Love you, bro.
I love you very much. Thank you, man. You did a great job, and there's a lot of comments. A lot of your friends showed up. Everyone, if you would, before you sign off, please give us one more share. And thank you for being here for the Survivor Series. And thank you, Micky Mouth. I love you, bro.
Love you too, man. Peace.
Good night, everybody.